I don't know, am I ready? Are you ready? Part 0. The Hand That Takes. Oh Superman for Massenet is a single from performance artist Laurie Anderson. It feels like a harsh, discordant technological hypnosis, like an artificial lullaby tuned for artificial ears. But ultimately, it is an adaptation. The second half of the song's name, for Massenet, declares that fact. Le Cid is an opera and ballet by Jules Massenet, and Au Souvrain, au Juge, au Pere is its most famous aria. It's of a knight, the legendary Spanish Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, a knight who kills his lover's own father and is sworn to death by her. He pleads with the powers above him, listing, O God, O Judge, O Father, and God responds, promising him victory. I think O Superman is a lot of things, but for one, it's a modification of Massenet's work. A modern elaboration tooled to the context of modern technological anxieties. Rodrigo is victorious, as foretold, but bows at the knees of his lover Caimine. It is ultimately her forgiveness that saves his life, realizing her love is more powerful than the vengeance that sought to kill him. Anderson peers behind that curtain, the superstitions, the religious ethos, and supplants it with our new gods. O Superman, O Judge, O Mom and Dad, our modern mythos, perceived justice, and connection. And perhaps the culmination of the piece, a voice seems to reach out to Anderson with a message. Upon her asking of its identity, it responds, This is the hand that takes. Part 1, Ma and Pa. I should just do ASMR. That's what I should do. Okay. Fargo is a 1996 dark comedy by Ethan and Joel Coen, and a breakout success which would catapult the two brothers into mainstream stardom. Set in the surreal vastness of the Minnesotan winterscape, it follows the destructive downward spiral of Jerry Lundegaard, an ineffectual, hapless used car salesman who plans the elaborate kidnapping of his own wife for his own financial benefit. The plan expectedly backfires completely when his equally incompetent hired hands manage to accidentally kill local police officers, a pair of innocent bystanders, Lundegaard's father-in-law, and eventually Jean, the wife they were explicitly ordered to protect. Lundegaard is snuffed out by Detective Marge Gunderson and cornered in a dead-end motel. Fargo is arguably the film that would establish their unique brand of comic sensibility and sardonic edge, which would later define the rest of their filmography. Its potency is largely due to its status as a truly excellent character drama. Lundegaard is an absolutely pitiful protagonist whose descent is simply a delight to watch. It feeds humanity's historic inclination towards tragic undoing. Lundegaard, for all his flaws, is a normal man. A character so grounded in reality you could practically meet him in real life. Seeing the gruesome unraveling of his plan highlights the idea that seemingly normal, good people have the propensity to do considerable evil when desperate enough. Lundegaard fails in that his ambition is at the expense of those he loves, and his detainment is a direct result of that neglect. Hey guys, welcome back. Interlude. Tragedy. William Shakespeare's Macbeth needs no introduction. Even before Joel Coen decided to formally adapt the Scottish play for screen in 2021's The Tragedy of Macbeth, they were still playing with its ideas. The themes we associate with the play, ambition, paranoia, illusion, fate, desire, are all visible in their work. Fargo depicts a man who designs his own downfall, and as they progress within their works, their notion of fated violence only grows sharper. According to Linda Hutchins' notion of repetition with variation within her theory of adaptation, source material is filtered through a new cultural context and dispensed by a director's unique vision. Quote, Therefore, she posits, an adaptation is a how do you say that? Derivative, but derivation. Do you know how to say that? An adaptation is a derivation that is not derivative, a work that is second without being secondary. It is its own palimpsestic thing. In the creation of a Coen Macbeth, their moral beliefs are bound to reflect upon Macbeth, and in a manner which I believe benefits the narrative. Is the audio still working? Perfect. There you go. Part 2, The Judge. No Country for Old Men, perhaps their most critically successful film in their catalog, concerns itself squarely with the Coen's interpretation of fate. Anton Chigurh, right? That's how you say it. Anton Chigurh, the story's villain, characterizes himself as fate incarnate, flipping a coin to determine the life or death of his victims. The story's main character, Llewellyn Moss, happens upon a case of drug money, leftovers from a desert shootout. His efforts to escape Anton Chigurh are considerate and in-depth. He skips town, pries tracking devices from suitcases, stows money in hotel vents. Despite his planning, he is brutally killed in an off-screen shootout, not even at the hands of the quick-witted, bolt-wielding Chigurh. A lesson on the chaotic, uncontrollable nature of violence. Moss is similar to Lundegaard in his normalcy, but whereas Lundegaard orchestrates his demise, Moss is a willing participant. Moss actively chooses this money, refusing to quit at every step, and for that he faces his consequences. That refusal echoes that of the ascending Macbeth. For Macbeth, it is not enough that fate has promised him a spot on the throne. He must seize it and protect it at every step of the way, and for that he faces consequences as well. As for Chigurh, his position as judge of fate is stripped the minute he defies his own code. When he chooses to kill Moss's wife, despite her refusal to adhere to his coin toss game, the chaos of violence catches up to him too, comically in the form of a seemingly mundane car wreck. Fate to the Coens is irrelevant, because it is ultimately ambition's undoing which kills their characters. You still have a audio line? We're still good.
Oh.
Part 3, The Mythical. True Grit is not the most notable film in the Coen brothers' filmography. It is, however, an adaptation of Charles Portis's 1968 novel of the same name. Its adaptation, Compatriot, the 1969 John Wayne version, achieved considerable success in its time, but largely omitted portions of the original story. Set in the American West, the Coens' True Grit attempts to repair that with an intimate discussion of the concept of revenge and the cycle of violence so common in the Western genre. Maddie, the story's young protagonist, seeks revenge after the murder of her father, hiring U.S. Marshal Rooster Cogburn to assist in tracking down Tom Chaney, his murderer. She believes it her right to seek out revenge, and everyone around her beholden to that right. Maddie claims Rooster to have what she considers, quote, true grit. This almost divine mythic title she bestows upon an ultimately washed-up, disgruntled old man. She ultimately gets what she wants, Tom Chaney's death, but is catapulted backwards into a rattlesnake upon her shooting him. Her drive for revenge and justice would leave her bitten, amputated, and eventually armless. Her ideal legacy is upended, her exemplar entirely unexemplary. In the case of Macbeth, his perceived destiny is the crown, and he ultimately only learns what Maddie did in his dying moments. Macbeth's illusions of grandeur and supernatural visions can be seen as a reflection of Maddie's illusionary myths of true grit and the legacy of a cowboy. Equally elusive, but where Maddie's ideas are snuffed out early on, Macbeth believes himself as untouchable until that very last moment. Part 4, Le Cid. 2021's The Tragedy of Macbeth is an astounding film and the culmination of an entire career's worth of thematic depth. And where the final product does follow the original plot to practically a T, nuance is added when needed. Denzel Washington as Macbeth adds an entirely new level of nuance to the character, playing a much older, battered Macbeth. In this regard, his seizing of the throne can be seen as a last vie for power from a man well acquainted with his fate. Frances McDormand expands equally upon her role, who effortlessly realizes the calculating Lady Macbeth on screen. Visually, Joel Coen's embrace of German expressionist techniques, its harsh geometry, stark contrast, and deliberate artificiality, renders the film's world as a surreal landscape, shaped by the characters' unraveling minds. Their thematic loss of sanity becomes a unifying visual principle that only film and the mind of Joel Coen could effectively capture. As for fate, Shakespeare's fate is resolute, sure. The presence of the witches are evidence of that. But the commentary provided by the Coens in their previous works gives further depth to Joel's moral perspective, or the variation in repetition with variation. In Macbeth's last moments on screen, Joel makes Macbeth grab the crown in one last attempt for power. With that, it makes it clear that it was Macbeth's ambition that killed him, not fate.